We are back with the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast. Happy New Year to everybody out there. 26, the podcast is live streaming on YouTube. We are ready to go. We're jacked. It's wild card weekend in the NFL. Welcome everybody who's a returning listener and those who are new. For those who are new, the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast is a betting podcast for entertainment purposes, of course, where we go through all the sporting action. It is NFL season, so we're going to focus our attention on the NFL. After the NFL, oh my God, we're going to figure out what we have to do from there, but we'll keep bringing you action. You can follow the Overrated Experience on X at Overrated EXPER2. That's Overrated EXPER2. You can also catch the video version of the pod on YouTube at the Overrated Experience. You'll see all this information posted on your distributor or your Spotify's of the world, your Apple Music. We're ready to go. So we normally come to you really out of the gate with a lot of information, not necessarily all betting, but sometimes we give a take on the sporting action. And back again, once again, live from Ajax is...
Also from Ajax, baby. You know who it is.
All right, so we know. We throw that formality out there, but yeah, you're right. You know who it is. So we're ready to kick it off. Austin from Ajax, how you been doing?
I'm great. And NFL playoffs, it's the best time of the year, so I'm fired up right now.
Wild card weekend, we got 6 matchups, 2 later today. We're kicking it off here on a Saturday morning. Things are going nuts. I don't know if you caught it as well. We also got the college football championships playoff that's going on. 2 games wrapped up the last 2 days. We're going to see the national championship, a face-off between the Miami Hurricanes hosting, because they're going to be playing at Hard Rock in Miami where the Hurricanes play, against the Indiana Hoosiers, where Indiana is the best team in the country right now, but you don't think of the Hoosiers as a football powerhouse. But guess what? They are. They'll probably come into that game favorite. So we're not going to touch base too much on that. But Austin, did you have a chance to watch that game at all?
No, I'm kind of spotty when it comes to college football. I seen the Oregon game, and I think it was Indiana crushing Alabama. I think that was it. But I'm too inconsistent on the college football.
Well, I'll tell you right now that Indiana didn't just crush Alabama. They actually also absolutely annihilated the Oregon Ducks last night. It was a real beating. It just 56-22, but it was never. This game was over in the first, pretty much the first half. It was ugly. Indiana took them to town. Oza, potential #1 pick in the NFL, just had a lights out game. What was the yardage he threw? He actually only threw for 177 yards.
Wow.
But there were so many turnovers that Indiana defense was just crushing it. And the night before, just to throw it out there, it's a much different story. Miami squeaked out a victory, but this was an absolute classic football game. Trinidad Chambliss, I told you last time that he killed me against Georgia. He had a game, and he had a game against Miami, but it was a tale of who had the ball last. And Carson Beck, former Georgia quarterback who transferred, he's in his 7th college football season, 7th, and this is supposed to be school. And he led, surprisingly, on a late last-minute drive. The Hurricanes down the field, runs it in for a touchdown. There was 18 seconds left. Kickoff, Ole Miss brings it back. 2 throws later, Ole Miss with 7 seconds is on the Miami 35-yard line. That's how ridiculous this quarterback is, Chambliss. And arguably, the throw he put into the end zone of that Hail Mary, I wouldn't have been surprised with that little yellow napkin they threw out there for a pass interference. My heart was beating because I had a parlay where I had Miami straight up to win, and also the game last night to go over 39.5, which went over in the first half. But that first game, classic heart-pumping matchup, and I'm glad I got the victory. It's time for this guy to win something. So sorry to kick it off, just on an exciting note, but that was a wild matchup.
So is this Mendoza guy the clear-cut #1 overall pick in the NFL?
It seems that way. I got to imagine when the Raiders get to the podium in Pittsburgh for the NFL draft, that Mendoza is going to be the guy. Think of a team. What NFL team that needs a quarterback just as bad? I'm sure there's a few, but are the Raiders at the top of your list of a team that needs a quarterback?
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Even like not only is Geno washed, but that guy he's getting old. They really got nothing, and they need a potential elite quarterback or top guy to even be relevant at all. So get him in there. Get him in there with Genty. That would be a good thing to watch.
Okay, so let me throw this out at you too, and tell me what you think, because this is the talk online. So Dante Moore, quarterback for the Oregon Ducks, he's considered the number 2 guy. He's considered the number 2 potential franchise quarterback that could potentially, if he announces eligibility for the draft, could come out, right? And just remember, before you give your answer, in college football now, you can get paid millions of dollars to play college football. So if you're Dante Moore, knowing that, okay, I'm going off on a tangent here. Out of 32 teams in the NFL, if you're a quarterback, what franchise would you not want to go to?
What franchise would I not want to go to?
In the
Probably
NFL,
the Browns?
what franchise? Okay, now I'm going to say Browns would. Is there another franchise that you would put in that maybe I may not go to this team because they may ruin my career? They're just so disorganized and screwed up. Think about the awful teams in the NFL.
Like, I'm thinking the Browns. I'm thinking maybe Miami. I don't know.
Come on, man.
Like the Raiders, here's the thing about the Raiders. It's like, I don't want to say I wouldn't want to play in the Raiders because I know they got a new stadium. They're playing in Vegas. That would be like unreal as an athlete, right? Obviously, I am thinking Raiders are one of the worst.
What's the biggest clown show out there in the NFL?
I always thought it was Cleveland.
Okay, so the number 2 team right now that holds the number 2 pick are the New York Jets.
Oh, God, yeah, so,
okay. So I thought when I said that,
I'd probably play another year in college.
Right. Okay. So that's the thought process, is that he may, because it's the Jets, likely to draft a quarterback. He may say, "I'll take a pass, play another year of college, and come back in next year."
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Honestly, yeah. I'd rather be. I don't know if I would, because it's hard. He's not going to know 100% sure that he's going to go there if he's not going to go there if he sits out, right?
Well, no. What happens is if he says I'm going back to college,
yeah,
then he'll come into the next draft. Who knows?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, it's not like if he says no, he doesn't get that opportunity to take the chance that he's going to the Raiders opposed to the Jets. I'm just saying, as a quarterback, I would want to go to the Raiders, but I wouldn't want to go to the Jets. So if I knew for certain I'm going to the Jets, sure, I'll sit out. But if it's a 50-50, I might still roll the dice. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I think then his folks, his handlers, I guess you would say, probably should be making some phone calls to say to New York, don't draft me.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to draft me, let me know now because I'm going to go back to college.
Yeah.
But that's a real scenario. Like, the Jets may ruin your career.
Yep.
I totally agree with that thought process.
Maybe there's a little allure to playing in New York. You think so?
There is, but if I look at the Raiders as an example and Mendoza going there, they at least have Tom Brady that looks like he's going to take more of a hand on how this team's run. It was a clown show. They made an error with Pete Carroll. Yeah. But the Jets look like the repeated mistakes over and over and over again. They treated Aaron Rodgers like shit when he left. They have never had a sound management staff. It's just ugly. So
and the Raiders, they have foundation to build on. Genty, I think we all still think he's an amazing talent. And then you got what's the tight end I'm always forgetting about? Probably the best
Brock
tight
Bowers.
end.
That guy's
Brock
awesome.
Bowers.
Outstanding.
So he's joining this team, potentially having the best tight end in football. It's not like it's a lost cause where the Jets have absolutely nothing going for them. They just sold their defense. They might, in the next couple of years, they might have a lot of good picks coming through, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Yes, they do. They have a lot of picks. So that's also a danger for Dante Moore, that he may not get away from the Jets because they have multiple first-round picks heading into next year as well. And then, can you remember how many interceptions did the Jets have this year?
I know they didn't. I don't think they picked off a single football, if that's what you're talking about.
Isn't that outrageous?
Right? They had zero, right? Am I wrong?
They had zero.
Zero on the year is crazy.
How is that possible?
Yeah. Like, statistically, you're playing against a high school team for 18 games, there should at least be one in there, Oh my God, it's off his hands. He catches it, It's like, you're telling me all year, not even like a batted in the air. Like, that's just statistically, if you would have bet one team to not have a single interception, it would have been like 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1. I can't believe
Because how many, like you said, how many times have you seen a lineman put his hand up in the air, flecked it up in the air, and it's an easy INT?
Yeah, or a quarterback
same.
just has a brain fart and throws it. You know what I mean? Like
That's
that
right.
happens every week in football. That's crazy.
That's
I would love to know the next. I'm talking in the microphone here, but I would love to know the next team, like the lowest interceptions before that team. Like it's got to be at least double digits, right?
I guess. Like it's just that is ugly,
That's
ugly,
crazy.
ugly. And you had Sauce Gardner for a chunk of the season. Like
that's true.
Ugly. That's why New York is just a land of lost toys. That's not good there. So
yeah. So wait,
we're gonna talk
one more thing to add. To me, it's just crazy. I'm assuming here Sauce Gardner, because he only played a game or two when he got traded. The thought that he went for 2 first-round picks and the defensive player didn't even have a single interception this year. It's like, that's kind of crazy to think about. You know, you always see these elite level players going for a 3rd-round pick, and you know, he goes for 2 firsts, crazy value. It doesn't matter who you are. And the guy didn't have a single interception on the year. Just one thing to mention.
Just really, really ugly. But let's do this. So I know the audience is waiting on the concrete fact. We'll get there in a minute. So Austin's got a concrete fact as he's in the concrete business. So he's our guru on solid facts. We'll call them solid facts. Okay. So before we do that, we have to talk about some of the moves some of these NFL teams and owners have made to change the course of the direction of their franchise by firing GMs, firing coaches, firing assistant coaches, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll throw a few out there. Now, I think it's a no-brainer, but for 2 of these, in my opinion at least, is the Raiders. Pete Carroll, 1 year, one and done. And Tom Brady looks like he'll be involved in finding that new coach, potentially Brian Flores, former Miami Dolphins coach, current this season's Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator. So the Raiders, are you surprised there that the Raiders are moving on from Pete Carroll?
Not at all. It's clearly the right decision. You know, I have respect for him for what he did in Seattle, but this is the worst I think the Raiders have ever looked since I've watched football, and they're the worst team in the league this year. I think you got to get rid of them.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. I think if you're owner Davis there, Mark Davis, and you didn't make this move, then you've lost the room. You've lost the narrative. So right call there. And we also look down in Miami that for a while there, it looked like Mike McDaniels was going to be a part of the GM search, which was ridiculous. And then we find out that he's been let go by the Dolphins in the last 24 hours. Was that a no-brainer? Do you think some of the available coaches may have triggered the opportunity for the Dolphins to move on from Mike McDaniels?
You know, I wasn't surprised, but it was more, I feel like McDaniels does have skills as a coach. I think it's just the fact that he wasn't able to control his locker room. You know, Tyreek Hill's taking shots at Tua, stuff like that. Once you see that, I feel like the locker room may be lost. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if McDaniels becomes some kind of coordinator in the future, but I don't think it was the wrong move. You know, he was the first guy that I thought of this year, or last week when I had the conversation. But I think all the firings that I saw were justified. Nothing was out of left field. You know, all these teams could use a little bit of a shakeup, so nothing really surprising here.
Yeah, I think Mike McDaniels probably will be a sought-after offensive coordinator type guy. So that's obviously his bread and butter is in the offense. Now, let's throw this out. What would be very interesting here is if, in a bold move, if a team like the Detroit Lions said, look, fuck it. Dan's our guy, but on the offensive coordinator aspect, let's bring in McDaniels.
Yeah, I would love that.
That would be a fantastic
situation
where Dan's got the whole control.
Yeah, like I remember when McDaniels came onto the scene, I remember he was like the big new coach. Maybe the lure only lasted like 2 seasons, but I remember like how explosive that offense was with Tyreek Hill, and he was getting all the credit for it. So I would really love that move. That is like a dream scenario for an NFL fan.
It's funny. It's reminds me of the Dolphins. Reminds me of like the Marvel movies where like Iron Man first gets created. He creates the Iron Man suit, but realizes when he flies too high, everything shuts down because it's too cold.
Yeah.
Right. And he has to make a change. But the Dolphins were the exact same way. High flying offense until it became cold.
Yeah.
And then they were just dead. So that's my take there. A couple other ones before we get into the concrete facts is, you know, Baltimore Ravens decided to move on from John Harbaugh after 18 seasons. And if you watch that game against the Steelers, and this happens all the time, and people do not look at it from this angle, is he's one doable kick away from playing this Saturday or Sunday or Monday or whatever, right? It's not like, and then Mike Tomlin's also one extra point away, from, or one missed extra point away from the same thing. Both coaches were hinging on kickers that should have made kicks versus anything they did decision-making. So Harbaugh's out.
Yeah.
Did the Ravens make the right move?
Man, I don't know if they made the right moves. Like, if you're looking at this year and last year was the same thing for the Ravens. It was one throw that the receiver catches 99 out of 100 times that was dropped, and that's why they missed the playoffs. And then, you got the kicker missing. It's like, how do you blame the coach for this in a way? The coach, it's like the coach put them in the position to win. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's like they had it all, and I think it truly came down to luck,
I do too, but I will say that from an organization standpoint, I don't think you can hire and fire based on whose fault you think it is. I think you have to hire and fire based on next season. How do I maximize the Lamar Jackson performance? How do I maximize how far this team can go? Because this team is built still to do a playoff run. So forget about whose fault it is. Are the Ravens better going into next season without John Harbaugh? Or is there somebody else that can take this team to the level they want to get to? That's the question I have. The Ravens are such a respected organization where usually they make the right move at the right time. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But it's tough for me to see if there's a coach out there that is going to do better with this squad versus maybe they need to start thinking about tearing it down. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
At the end of the day, also Lamar, best rushing quarterback the NFL has ever seen statistically. But, if you're a running quarterback, your longevity is also a lot shorter. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
Okay, let's add on to this then, too, that I think there were some questions when Lamar came back from his injury. He wasn't exactly lights out for this offense, but holy shit, when you seen that second half against Pittsburgh, what Lamar could do, whether it be his legs or his arm or the decisions he made, it was, if this Ravens team gets into the playoffs, and what I'm seeing him hook up multiple times with Zay Flowers, watch out. Because this is the Lamar we expected for the majority of the time when he came back from his injury, and he came to play in that second half. But give it to Aaron Rodgers. He came to play too. So it was ridiculous that these two quarterbacks turned it on, and then the kickers were the factors that determined the outcome of this game.
Insane.
Insane.
Shout out to the Steelers getting it done even without, we talked about how key DK Metcalf, getting it done without him, and then shout out to Lamar for probably having the worst luck I've ever seen from a quarterback, just like for his career. Like, it's out of his control. He does everything he can. He puts the team in the position to win, and they screw him every single year.
Look, at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson, everybody's out there, oh my God, you're picking on Lamar. Look, the guy's a two-time MVP. He's going to be under the spotlight. When he wins, he's going to be a genius. When he loses, everybody's going to doubt him. That's just the reality of the level he's at. He's a franchise quarterback. That's just the level he's going to be at. The scrutiny is going to be intense. So no surprise there. Anyway,
sorry, this is pretty big. This is a big question.
Okay.
And I know we don't have too many games to cover this week. Is Lamar, he's not with the Ravens next year, is he?
Yes, he is.
He is? Is he locked up?
Yes. He's
a free agent after next year.
Yeah. So I think there's some contract negotiation to do. He's not a free agent.
Okay.
Or if I'm wrong, they can still franchise him. The franchise tag.
Right. I mean, sure.
Let's just say there's no fear of him leaving the Ravens, to my understanding. So we'll see how that plays out. Maybe I'm wrong. Now, before we leave the coaching carousel, think about John Harbaugh. Took a franchise when he went to the Ravens under Joe Flacco, Ray Lewis. They win a Super Bowl. They reload, bring Lamar Jackson in, a retool, and they become a Super Bowl threat. Is John Harbaugh have anything left in the gas tank if you're a team out there struggling to get a foothold on a playoff threat, and turning your franchise around? Is there a team where you can see a John Harbaugh go to? Or do you think that there's a team that should back up the Brinks truck and say, I'll give you whatever you want, John Harbaugh. You come and run our franchise? Is there a team out there you would ask?
Yeah, I think John, like we talked about how Mendoza may go to the Raiders or the Jets. I'd like to see him coach this young quarterback, like first round pick. But I don't know if there's any specific team. Like, I think he goes to any of those teams and they're immediately better. I got a lot of respect for Harbaugh as a coach, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if I can pinpoint a specific team. Maybe, I mean, Jets or Raiders are going to be the most dire for a coach or for a shakeup. So I would say one of those two teams.
Well, there's also talk about the Giants bringing him in, and which makes sense. And I do like, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think if I'm the Raiders, that'd be a perfect fit.
Yeah.
For him. I think if I'm John Harbaugh, he's got the ball in his court. He could say, I'll skip a year because I'm going to go do TV or take the year off. And he's got the ultimate position where, look, let's say the Jets. It's never going to happen. Let's say the Jets because they're too stupid. Is you have to accept that if I have a John Harbaugh come in, that I'm going to give him the keys to the franchise. I'm going to give him the control, whatever he wants. That's what I have to allow him to do. So the Denver Broncos had that same scenario with Sean Payton. Sean Payton leaves the Saints, takes a year off. He works at Fox, and he was the hot coach that off season. And I am sure that he said, look, Denver, I'm going to come in, but you need to give me 100% creative content control. And I know you got Russell Wilson as your big play, but I have the right, and I'll let you know, guys, I'll work a year with him. But if things don't work out, you're going to have to eat that $40 million because I need to find my own guy. Are you okay with that? Because I'm not signing the dotted line unless you agree that I'm going to make a bold move like that. That's exactly how it played out.
Yeah.
And that's what John Harbaugh's power's got to be like. I don't know if the Jets are smart enough to, they're lost. And I don't think they'll have the balls to make that call.
Yeah, it seems
But
like
we'll see.
Yeah, it seems like they're an organization that could definitely step on their toes, no doubt.
Yes.
Or his toes.
Now, before we get into today's matchups and Sunday's matchups, we want the concrete fact. So let's lay it into us, the solid fact by Austin from Ajax. Go ahead.
All right, so our fun concrete fact this week for the concrete community is the oldest piece of concrete on record is 12 million years old, and it was found in Israel in the 1960s. The natural deposit was formed when an oil shale exploded near limestone when the two touched a layer of concrete was formed. So the oldest concrete ever recorded in human history, 12 million years. It was a natural
12
occurrence.
million?
Yep. It was natural, so yeah.
That's a solid fact for sure.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We'll see what we get into next week with another solid fact. And
stay tuned, folks.
Stay tuned. We don't know what we're going to hear. So we have 6 wildcard games. The Seahawks and the Denver Broncos are not going to be playing this weekend because they've earned that first round bye. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10 of all the potential matchups that could have taken place and the teams made the playoffs, how would you rank out of 10 your excitement and satisfaction of the teams that we're seeing in the matchups we're seeing?
Out of 10, like a big part of me is excited just because it's the playoffs alone. But truly taking a step back and looking at this week's matchups, I'm kind of like, they're okay. 7 out of 10. But, like I'm still, my jacked up skill is still a 9 out of 10 just because it's NFL playoffs.
Yes.
But yeah, I would say like next week, the potential games next week would have me a lot more excited than this week.
So if I said to you that we're going into the playoffs and we have a Kansas City Chiefs team, we have a Ravens team, would that have added to it?
I think so, but it's more of the disparities of even the line makers' opinions. For example, LA Panthers, obviously I won't get too into it, but the fact that it's a 10.5 point favorite, it's like, I want to see a matchup that could go either way. I want to go into a matchup like, man, I don't know who's going to win here. And that just looks like it should be a walkover, always happy to see a good upset, but I think I like more of a team where a game where you don't know what's going to happen going in. But, there's a couple good ones.
So I'll agree with you, 7 out of 10. I would have loved the fact that if the Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl, they were knocked off by a contender. The Buffalo Bills finally got over the hump and knocked off the Chiefs. The Ravens finally got through the Chiefs. One of those two teams.
Man.
That would have been the more exciting story.
Does this get boosted up to 8 out of 10 if it's the Ravens instead of the Steelers here? Are you okay with it?
That's a good question. I mean, at the end of that game last Sunday, when the Ravens looked like they were going to win that game, when they were setting up for the field goal, I think I was a little more excited. Yeah. I do. I think I was more excited that if we would be talking about a Baltimore Ravens hosting a Houston Texans matchup, because I don't think that the Baltimore Ravens would be an underdog like the Steelers are.
Yeah. And then you're looking at the AFC, and then you would have had the Ravens, the Bills, and the Patriots going. I think those would have been the three big teams. But still, it's a good time. Good time to be alive. NFL playoffs are here.
I would have also been excited if the Lions also were in the NFC playoffs. I think they would have made a run, even though despite their challenges, they didn't get there. But I think they would be more of a threat in the NFC, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to kick it off. Funny enough, the Houston Texans usually play the early playoff game on Saturday. That's what's changed this year. They will be playing on Monday night. The early game we have is a rematch of a regular season matchup where the LA Rams, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devonta Adams, are heading into Carolina. You know how much we love Carolina, who just frustrate the hell out of me. You know, we get the big win Tampa on Saturday last week, but, you know, the Saints couldn't get the job done. So the Carolina Panthers back in as division champions and will host a playoff game, which is almost a crime in itself. But we have the Carolina Panthers hosting the Rams, 10.5 points. The Rams are 10.5 points favorites on the road, which I guess is no surprise. But I'll let you take your first tackle at this. Do you believe? What do you think how it's going to play on the spread? The 46.5 over under. What say you?
You know, 10.5 points is insane. The big question of this week is, are the Carolina Panthers frauds? Because I think everyone in their minds could picture them losing by 20 this week, but we could also see them holding it within 3. So this is a really hard game to predict. But as crazy as it sounds, I think you go with the extra points here with Carolina. They found a way this year to keep you guessing, let's say. And, you know, in my head, it's like, oh, you know, the Rams are going to beat them by 20. And that's why I think I should take the Carolina Panthers plus 10.5, which is crazy to say because every time you pick the Panthers, they do the opposite of what you say. Obviously, this is amateur picking here, but this is truly what I'm going with in my gut. So I'm going to take the Panthers at 10.5, and then I'll take the over 45.5. I think both teams are scoring here. You know, I do think I could see it being, you know, 30-27 here. So
yeah,
I could see it being one of those.
It sickens me to say, but I do believe you're looking at this the same way I am with the Carolina Panthers. They shouldn't even be here. They shouldn't be hosting a playoff game because they're not that good. I don't know how they've carried Bryce Young and this quarterback all the way to the playoffs. I mean, you got a stud wide receiver in McMillan. This guy, you had him in fantasy, right? McMillan?
Yes, I had him in fantasy.
He's a big time player, man. He's a go-to guy if you can get him the ball. I'm torn here because the Seahawks, not too long ago, a few weeks back, walked into Carolina and smashed them. But the Rams walked in a month ago and they had their struggles. So the reason why I think the Carolina can hang for at least a bit here in the 10.5 is I think because the Rams are more run and gun, this suits the Carolina defense, right? It suits the defense that they are for real. They're ball hawks. They create turnovers. And I think I don't know if the Rams have learned their lesson. I think you have to play a boring brand of football here where you're taking the high percentage throws. You're making the high percentage, like you have to punt. You make the Carolina Panthers drive. By the third quarter, late in the third quarter, you should be up 2 scores, forcing the Panthers offense to have to break it open, which I think is in your favor. Kind of like we've seen with Tampa, who held on the win last week, where they started to play a boring brand of football. Can the Rams do that? I don't know. So I will say Carolina covers. I think the Rams win. I do agree with you. I think there's points in this game, 46.5. I'll take the over. And I'm going to throw a few props out at you. And you tell me what you think on this, okay? So I think Rico Dowdle, running back for the Carolina Panthers, his over-under for rushing yards, I know he splits time with Chuba Hubbard, but 46.5, I'm going to take Rico here. I believe him to be a big-time guy. You know, he's really stood out for the Carolina Panthers, stood out when Chuba Hubbard was down. I think as a player, I think he gets some yards today. What do you think of that play?
I like that pick. I see him getting
Rico
50,
Dowdle. And here's a value play. I'm not going to say I may take it, but I may put a little small amount of money on this. I believe that Matthew Stafford's going to have a pick. I think he's going to have an INT. This Carolina defense are ball hogs. And at plus 130 for Matthew Stafford to throw an interception. He threw 2 against them, and the last time they met, I like it. So do you think Matty Stafford is going to throw an INT today?
Sorry, what was it, 220?
Plus
130. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't think I'd take it personally. Just because my first number went to like 3 to 1, like that's the odds I would want for a pick. I'm not saying I think like I don't mind the pick bet, but I wish the odds were a little better. So I would stay away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
would want it at least 150 and I jump on it. I would do it at 150.
All right. Well, you got your opinions.
Yeah, but I really like the over for the rushing yards there, and I'll ride that one with you too.
Okay, great. Now we move on to the late Saturday game. Third time these teams have met, and that's the Green Bay Packers heading into Chicago to take on the Chicago Bears. And maybe the ultimate disrespect again, because the Bears, they opened up as favorites and now 1.5-point dogs to the Green Bay Packers. And the game's 44.5. Go ahead. What do you think?
I think the over 44.5, or sorry, the total 44.5, I think that's clearly under. You know, Chicago seems like one of those teams that scores in every drive but can't protect anything. And you know, Green Bay is completely decimated. But I do think both teams can still score just because Chicago's defense is so bad. But I think you are right. Clearly there's disrespect here. You take the 1.5 with Chicago. They should be the -1.5. I think you should almost have them at -2.5 or -3, personally. Being at home as well. They won the last game, if I'm not mistaken. Give me the Bears. Give me the over.
Yeah, the Bears lost against the Lions against the last week, but you're talking about the last time they played Green Bay.
Yes,
that's correct.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sorry, you're correct. So you're going to take the Bears. And sorry, you said that the 44.5 is way too low. Is that what you were going with?
That's way too low.
Okay. I do too.
I think Chicago's like an elite offense with a bottom 10 defense, right? So that's kind of the team I look at them as. Obviously, one that's always going to be entertaining, but even a decimated Green Bay, I think, should be able to put up 20 against them. Easily.
So important to note that Adunze is back. He'll be back for the Bears, which is a big weapon that the Bears were sorely missing. I'm torn here. I am torn here. I mean, everything indicates that, in my opinion, Chicago should win, because what have the Packers done in the last little bit? I mean, they got crushed by the Ravens. Let's forget about the Vikings game because they started Clayton too and they played nobody. They got crushed at home by the Ravens. Their defense without Michael Parsons does not look like the defense that the Packers put out in the field early part of the season. They've slowly lost a lot of guys, key guys, not only on the defensive side of the ball, but Tucker Kraft, I think, has always been a big loss.
Yeah.
How healthy is Jordan Love, man? He's been not played in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
He's coming back, but maybe he's fresh. So I'm gonna take the Packers here. I'm gonna take the Packers. Yeah. Yes, I am. I'm not confident on it. I just don't have the belief in Caleb Williams. I don't have the belief that he has a big game in him. I just can't buy him, man. He cannot make the easy throw. If he makes like 5 or 6 outstanding throws on the run, sure, they win. But if he can't make the easy, 10 passes that march that Bears team down the field, I think they're in trouble. So I'll lean Packers here. I'll take the 1.5. And then the over, I'll stick with you on that. I think it's too low. And as far as props, I got Jordan Love here. I think he'll have a solid game. I think he'll put the ball in the air. 222.5. I think he'll go over that. What do you think there? Do you think Jordan Love will have a successful game?
I do think he'll have a successful game, but I think that translate like the Bears. I look at the Bears as a bottom 10 defense in the league. So I think they'll get lit up. I think this total is way too low. Also, a player prop that I want to throw in there, and I would like to hear because this seems way too low for me. I thought maybe Rome Odunze, there's been games where he's heavily used and lightly used this year, but he is their guy. And I think, they want to put the ball in his hands this game. And his over-under at -112 is 32.5 for receiving yards. And I think that is way too low. I think it should easily be like 45 and a half. So give me the over 42 and a half for Roma Dunze. I think that's
That was my second. I was going to throw
really.
at you. Dunze, yeah.
Yeah, I looked at his total and I was like, wait a minute, that does not like I know he's coming back from injury, but this is a big game, which I think is going to be high score. And I think 32 and a half yards for Roma Dunze that's a walk in the park. That's a walk in the
Okay, can we
park.
commit we're both going to lock in a bet on that one? Locked. Okay, I think you agree. I think we should throw this. When this podcast is done, throw it out there. I think it's going to go up before kickoff. I believe that number is going to go up, and the props are a little more volatile than the spreads are. And a couple yards will make a difference.
Yeah, well.
And what happens if Adunze doesn't get the ball? Who's going to make a stink of it? Remember his dad?
Yeah.
Was not happy after that Cincinnati game where he didn't get a catch or target, whatever it was.
He's kind of yeah, he's kind of that AJ Brown type. It seems that he's going to demand the ball, so I think that comes into play as well.
And before we go to the Sunday matchups, do you think, for entertainment purposes, would you like to see one of the other 6 games in the Sunday or the Saturday night slot for entertainment?
You know what? I am satisfied with Chicago and Green Bay.
Okay.
LA and Carolina, a little less enthusiastic about, but that's because it's Carolina. Green Bay and Chicago, I think I'm fine with that. I am. To save the meat and potatoes for Sunday night, Meat
and potatoes, got it. Okay. So we head into Sunday, and we kick it off with the Buffalo Bills, head into Jacksonville, take on the Jaguars. Bills, currently a 1.5-point favorite. There's a lot of people that probably look at the Bills and say, hey, it's their time to make a run. But a little disrespect to the Jaguars here and the season that they're having and the performance they've been putting in over the last, second half of the season. So what's your take on this? What do you like here?
Jacksonville, I've said it all year. They're always supposed to be this good on paper, but they've always underachieved until this point. But obviously, they're facing their biggest challenge, not really necessarily on the Buffalo Bills, but Josh Allen, who I believe is the guy that's going to take over this game. And I think you got to put your faith in Josh Allen. This is their chance. This is the Bills' chance this year. I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl, as crazy as that sounds.
Wow.
So I got to roll with them. I got to stick with them. I've been saying it for 3 or 4 weeks now. I think it's going to be Buffalo, Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. So give me Buffalo and give me the under 51 and a half. That seems a little high.
Wow. Okay, so is this a game where Josh Allen puts the team on his back?
He has to.
And it passed you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not screwing around anymore, right? It's Josh Allen time. If I want a Super Bowl, it's got to be him carrying me. Is that the play?
Yep.
What about props then? Like, do you think this is a Josh Allen prop kind of game where you really don't look at James Cook? You look at,
okay. I've been taking a look at the numbers, but I'm just more confident as somehow Buffalo gets it done. I don't know if it's James Cook. James Cook is a guy that can take a game over. I do think personally it's Josh Allen. I think if you're focused on your bets, you look for the Josh Allen numbers. I just don't know what those numbers are. So,
well, I'm going to throw a few at you. So we're going to have a Josh Allen props kind of conversation. Okay.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. So right now, if we go down the list, we have Josh Allen passing yards, 227.5, juices -114.
Yeah.
Yay or nay? Over is yay,
if I was
setting
that, if I was setting that, I would have put it at right around there. So I'll say yay, but I wouldn't bet it.
Okay, but you lean toward the over.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one I think you'll find value, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. Josh Allen passing touchdowns over 1.5.
Yeah.
And it's even money.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, I set the line at 2, though.
Did you just have a vision of Josh Allen ready to pass and then he runs it in?
It's just with Josh Allen, like you got Josh Allen running himself, you got James Cook, and I already took the under on this game. So it's like It doesn't I think I'll stay away from that too, because I think he probably has 2, but I think he rushes one in today.
Well, lean toward one or the other.
Yeah. What's his Josh Allen touchdown?
Good question. Hold on.
That's the one I want if it's plus money.
Okay, so it's TD scores. Josh Allen, anytime is -135.
Give me that one.
2+ is +490.
Ooh. Give me the one. Give me the one.
Okay, so you'll take anytime
the plus
touchdown.
Money on that. Yeah, I think it's at least a 50-50. To get a plus 130 is that looks really good to me.
Okay, and then pass completions over under 21.5.
Over.
Will he make 22 or more?
Over, I say.
Okay. And then attempts. Will Josh Allen have over 32.5 attempts?
Yes.
Okay. Will he have more passing yards than Trevor Lawrence?
Yes.
Okay. Well, look at this. Trevor Lawrence is minus 135, 132.
Yeah.
Well, Josh Allen is plus 102.
Wow.
So if you feel Josh Allen, there's value there.
That is good value.
Okay. And Josh Allen, will he throw at least one interception?
I think so. One.
Okay, he's even money. Money to throw an interception.
Just one.
Okay, well, that we at least walk through some props in the Bills game. And I'll take the Bills, but we've seen the Bills just fold sometimes, especially if there's pressure and the receivers can't get open. And I'll take the over. I know you went the under, but I'll take the over. And just for you FanDuel users out there, FanDuel has a promotion right now. If the Bills complete at least one pass, that you have, it's basically an even money scenario. So it depends on how much money they've allowed you to your max bet. But keep an eye on that. So make sure you don't miss that. It's free money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if Josh Allen steps back, breaks his arm. Any Buffalo quarterback making a completed pass, it's a joke, but to give you even money. Did you see that one? I would look at it. Just don't miss out on that one. Okay, so we also have then the second matchup, which is rather juicy. We have the 49ers coming off a beatdown with the Seahawks that basically told them, hey, your place is not the number one seed here. You're a step back. And now you're taking on the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. And then the Eagles come to this game 5.5-point favorites over the 49ers. This game has an over-under of 44.5. Is the 5.5 too much? It went up from 4.5 to 5.5. I don't understand.
No, I don't think it is. I think Philadelphia, they've underperformed this year. They kind of remind me of the Kansas City Chiefs last year where, they fell off, they're not as fun to watch, but they still got to the Super Bowl, right? So I think that's the kind of team that they are. They got all the talent. On paper, I think they're way better than San Fran. I could see a big game from Saquon. Somebody's going to step up. Somebody's going to step up this game. San Fran, they had a better year than I expected. A lot of great games, but I think this line is right where it should be. And on that note, I'm actually going to take Philadelphia -5, and I'm going to take the over 44.5 because I think they take the boots to them. I do.
I'm going to go the other way. And I'm going to take the 49ers to at least cover this. I know what we've seen against Seattle, and we've seen also Seattle run the ball down the throat of the 49ers. I don't see it. I don't see how what I've seen from the Philadelphia Eagles that they pull away this much from the 49ers. I agree. Hey, the Philadelphia Eagles can win this football game, but I'm not going to be shocked at the 49ers and they walk over the Eagles. There's been nothing impressive. So I'll take the 49ers to cover. I'll take the over, 44.5. And interesting, I'd like to hear your take on this. Christian McCaffrey, receiving and rushing yards, 111.5. I like the over on that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'll take the under. I'll put faith in Philadelphia's defense.
Wow. I don't have that faith, man.
I feel like
Christian McCaffrey's Mr. Everything.
I guess I just think if Philadelphia's going to win, they got to shut down McCaffrey. And I'm not saying, if he put up 120 total yards, I don't think that would necessarily be the nail in the coffin, but I think they make that a focus today, so I don't want to roll with that.
So you like the Eagles to roll. Eagles fly, Eagles fly.
Eagles fly.
All right. Big matchup, which I think is pretty interesting. The Sunday nighter, we have the LA Chargers, Justin Herbert, in New England, take on the Patriots, potential MVP Drake May. The Patriots are 3.5-point favorites. I think the line's where exactly it needs to be.
Yep.
I feel the Patriots are for real.
Yeah.
At least in this matchup, I think they will take out the Chargers. I think it will be a comfortable win. I think it will expose the Chargers having, man, we have a quarterback who's a top 5 quarterback. It's just not surrounded with the talent required for him to take that next step. So I think I'm going to take the Patriots. I'll take the over. What do you say?
I also take the Patriots. I think they're legit. I think this Chargers defense is also, it's looked really bad this year at points. And, no one's going to be surprised if New England Patriots come in here and drop 30 points today. So give me the Patriots -3.5, which I think they get easily. Could even be double digits. and then give me the over 45.5. Because I think not the Dodgers. I think the Chargers could put up, 20, 21 points here, but I just don't think it's going to be enough.
All right. And Justin Herbert, 225.5 passing yards. I like the over there. I think he's going to be throwing the entire game.
Yeah. I don't know. I have faith in New England. That's pretty much right on. It could go either way for me in my head.
I even like a combo between passing yards and rushing yards. If you put Justin Herbert 259.5, he's going to be taken off out of the pocket.
I don't like it.
Okay.
Because I could see New England dominating them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Closing it out, the Monday Nighter. We have the Houston Texans, 3-point favorites, heading into Pittsburgh to take on Aaron Rodgers. Potentially his last game ever if the Houston Texans win. We talked about this. If we were talking about Houston and Baltimore, I think I don't think any way Baltimore's going to come in as an underdog. But the Steelers they're playing at home. And the over-under is low, the lowest of the 6 games, 38.5. And the juice is actually to the under. So there's no faith and there's going to be many points scored here. What do you think?
Well, I mean, this clearly is the battle of the defenses, Definitely not the best teams here, but on the slate. But, I think this is a really hard one to predict. I think Houston Texans have had the better defense, but I've said it all year. Steelers are a different team at home. And you know what? For that reason, I think I'm going to roll with the Steelers at +3. This is an extremely difficult decision for me. I think Houston is the better team, but I think that the edge goes with the home here, with Pittsburgh being at home. So give me Pittsburgh +3. You're going to give me those points too. And give me the over 38.5.
We have a impromptu guest here on the podcast.
Is that Jake from Scarborough?
Jake from Scarborough. Say hi, Jake from Scarborough.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
And what do you want? You want to watch The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Austin, what do you think? Should we allow him to watch The Simpsons?
I think the Overrated Experience approves of The Simpsons.
All right, fine. Jake can go watch The Simpsons. That was our third guest here, potential football. No, on here? You trying to take off a soccer game to watch The Simpsons? Go ahead. Fine, go ahead. Here. Things we do. All right, take this and go. Go. Okay. All right, sorry, I missed that part. What, so you like the Texans on this one?
Yeah, no, I like the Steelers.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think the Steelers being at home is what gives them the edge, and it gives them the win today.
I'm going to ride Aaron Rodgers. I just want to ride the final hurrah for Aaron Rodgers. He looked amazing in that fourth quarter against the Ravens with the throws he had. Had DK back in that lineup. I think having a nice mix of Austin, Thielen, and Freiermuth, getting this offense going, Warren and Gaineswell, a lot of weapons I think that are peaking at the right time. The scary part about this is that Aaron Rodgers can thrive, and he thrived against the Ravens, but they had no pressure. They couldn't get to him. Texans, completely different. Completely different. They're going to get to him. That may be a factor, but I'll still ride the Steelers. Sure, I'm going to take the over. I don't know. What did you say on the over-under?
Over.
Okay, we're going to take it's too low. We've seen some crazy things happen. I'll take the over. And that's the 6 games we've gone through. Wild times, wild things. And I know we're running out of time here, but I just want to throw out, we talked about it earlier off air, that Matthew Stafford is now our MVP favorite on FanDuel, which flipped during week 18 back from Drake May. Any quick comments on that?
To me, it kind of makes no sense. I don't know why the flip was so heavy. I'm assuming the betting line changed in favor of Drake May on a recency bias, and that got adjusted. I do agree, if you take a step back, Stafford kind of is the clear favorite, I think. Obviously everyone's excited about the Patriots, but I don't think that's the proper way to go.
Yeah. Sorry, Jake, just mute for a couple seconds. Mute. Pause it for a couple seconds.
I would like to hear I'd like to hear your opinions if you believe Stafford or Drake May should be MVP. And then also, I know I've said it many times on the podcast over the past couple weeks, but I'd like to hear your predicted Super Bowl matchup this year.
All right, we're going to do this quickly, okay? Yeah. So as far as MVP, I tend to now lean toward Drake May as being the MVP. I feel that he's carried this team. This team's a division winner, a number 2 seed. Matthew Stafford has had a lights-out season, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's MVP. But I believe the quarterback carrying the team to where May did versus Stafford is a key indicator to me the why Drake May should be the MVP. As far as Super Bowl predictions, this is a good one. Right now, the Seattle Seahawks are the number one, favorite. Rams are number two. I tend to see the Rams being more on the NFC side, making the team. I don't believe 100% Seattle's real. The Rams, I think, are a little more seasoned and got the reputation. Matthew Stafford's won a Super Bowl, and Sean McVay, coach, has been there. So I like the Rams to make it through in the NFC. And the AFC, the Broncos are the number one rated AFC team to make it. I don't see it. I don't see a Super Bowl where the Broncos make it. Just don't see it, man. I'm going to say, geez, it's going to be a Rams. It's going to be a Rams-Bills Super Bowl.
Rams-Bills. Wow.
Rams-Bills.
Going all in on the Bills with me.
I don't like it because I don't feel confident because they don't win. The Bills are going to change McDermott out if they don't make a run here. So Rams-Bills Super Bowl is what I'll say. What about you?
One more question, just because you said Rams Super Bowl. Say the Rams go to the Super Bowl, Stafford wins MVP on the year, and he wins the Super Bowl. Is Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer?
He's already a Hall of Famer.
He's already a Hall of Famer.
There's no question.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Even when he left Detroit, he was already a Hall of Famer.
Man. It's kind of like a Charger situation with what he was in Detroit.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's my take. What is your Super Bowl pick?
My Super Bowl pick is the Eagles and the Bills.
Are you excited for that Super Bowl, though? I mean, if that's a very good pick, that's very possible.
Josh Allen in the Super Bowl, I'm very excited. Like, I don't know if that would necessarily be the highest scoring game. No, you know what? I would be.
Okay, so if the Bills make it to the Super Bowl, will you go through a table for this audience if the Bills get to the Super Bowl?
All right, sure. Yeah, why not?
Okay, we'll film this. If it happens, you're going to go through a table. And what it has to be a concrete table.
Well,
I'm kidding. No, maybe not. All right, so that's the Overrated Experience for another week. It's Wild Card Weekend. We're jacked. We're excited. So we'll see what happens. We got our picks. We got our props. We have our plays. We have our thoughts. Pleasure's all been yours. Any last words from Ajax?
Just Austin from Ajax. Out.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great Wild Card Weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.